I see. So this is when you and she... As usual, I couldn't understand a word she said, but I guess she's making more sense now than back when I was alive. I used to chat with her a lot through my cosmogenic arm. She always seemed so mournful, so full of regret. Thinking back on it now, maybe she was trying to apologize to me, since she could see the future and knew what would happen to me. I think she was able to see your future too, back when she talked to you. That's why she gave you the divergence matrix to guide you, and that's also why she sent you to Nefarious. She was trying to accomplish something. I'm sure that something has to do with the regret I sensed, but right now, who can say?
First.
I see. So Shion's goal was for you to rescue the second, who'd collapsed on Nefarious. That's why she turned back time to your certification mission. Good job finding her on your first try. The divergence matrix displays possible divergences. It's about as outrageous as my power to stop time. Cassie would probably call it magic. Well, maybe it's not quite on that level. Anyway, even if you can go to the past, changing history isn't easy. Time automatically corrects itself. For example, even if you changed history to stop Luther from killing me, I'd probably still die somewhere. That's how it usually works. But Shion can see the results of your revisions too, so she knows exactly what to change. Then she tells you, and you change it. That's what the divergence matrix is for. It's like a guidepost to creating a new future. You're going to change events to help her reach the future she's calculated. Shion wouldn't be able to do it alone, and neither would you. It's something you can only do together. Of course, there's no guarantee that you'd succeed in diverging history, even if you followed Shion's guidance. I wonder if she was secretly turning back time and repeating your adventures until you managed to create a divergence.
In all...
Falsepawn really are terrible. Even if you destroy their bodies, the remaining F factor corrupts living beings and machines. Honestly, how could anyone create such monstrosities? If the photons inside us didn't neutralize the F factor, we'd be corrupted in the blink of an eye too. That's why non-arcs can't fight them. You can't fight Falsepawn without the ability to control photons. Reggie, Mary, and I are particularly good at it, but you're on a whole other level. Absorbing and purifying the F factor inside the frenzied Draconians. That's beyond me. Honestly, it's a terrifying ability, but that's probably one of the reasons why Shion chose you. Thanks to you, the frenzied Draconians returned to normal, and a link was formed between Arcs and the Draconians, creating a new future. I'm not sure yet how this will alter the course of history, But I am sure this was necessary to achieve Xion's goal.
A new divergence.
Lilypaw and the Lilypans, I don't think that planet has been discovered yet during my time. It seems the civilization that was originally on Lilypaw was destroyed, and the Lilypans are the survivors. No, but I so desperately want to pet one. It's too bad that I don't have a body. All joking aside, now you've formed relationships with not only the Draconians, but with the Lilypans as well. Although it doesn't seem like you can communicate verbally, I'm sure that Fourier girl will figure something out. Now then, next up is another recording from Nefarious, it would seem.
A new divergence.
Things are really starting to heat up, eh? And what's most puzzling is that broken weapon. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but why is it broken? Oh, sorry, I digress. It seems like Xion's goal is to collect the fragments of that weapon. And that masked person is looking for the very same fragments. But thanks to Xion's guidance, you stopped them. Originally, it was fated to be collected by that masked person from where it slept in the tundra, but you got it instead, changing the future. What meaning does that hold? At this point, I'm sure only Xion knows. She should have just explained everything from the start. Oh no, I guess she couldn't. She knew if she told you, you'd fail, and so she couldn't say anything. It was probably something like that.
A new...
I see. Before, it didn't seem like anything was connected, but Xion's instructions are starting to come together now. She was guiding you to collect the fragments of that broken weapon, She made Fourier into a mediator for the Lilypans so that you could get this fragment. Which means the link forged with the Draconians must have been for a similar purpose. And next up is... See? It's Amduskia!
A new divergence.
Now you've recovered the fragment on Amduskia too. Finally, you have them all. Even if you had guidance, walking around 3 planets must have been exhausting. But there was plenty good reason to do it. Now all that's left is to fix the weapon, and then everything will come together. I guess. I'm concerned about the second, too. She has amnesia, and yet she's clearly reacting to the fragments of the weapon. Shion's guidance led you to both save the second and recover the weapon fragments. Considering the way the second has been acting, I think I know what's going to happen. If those weapon fragments are what I think they are, then you're in for quite a show.
A new divergence.
Huh? Talk about a plot twist! The fixed weapon was stolen! That's strange. I thought the fixed weapon would be returned to the second, and she'd get her memories back, solving everything. And it would seem that Oak Girl got caught up in the false spawn assault and died too. Was that all part of Shion's plan? Maybe there's some reason why that had to happen. Still, prospects are grim. I can't see a happy ending coming from this. Mark my words, someone's going to get hurt. More than 40 years ago now, Reggie, Mary, and I fought Darkfall's Elder. Considering the outcome, you could say that Arcs won. We got pretty beat up, but Arcs won. Elder's power was outrageous. After all, he was strong enough to change Navarius' geography and create a tundra. It was impossible to destroy him, so we sealed him away instead. We bound him to the land of Navarius. I used my cosmogenic arm, Clarissa the White, to do it. That same weapon that you repaired. We sealed Elder away, using Clarissa as a key. But we told everyone that we defeated him. We had a lot of reasons for what we did, and were hailed as the trio of heroes, and we thought it fine to accept the honorific. We thought that if a bluff could lend some hope to the ongoing fight against the Falsepawn, then it was a useful white lie. We believed that someday in the future we would forge, someone would find a way to completely defeat a Dark Falls. But we never thought that the seal would be released just a few decades later. And it wouldn't be exaggerating to say that it was Shion's guidance that caused the seal to be undone. Whatever Shion wanted to accomplish must have been important enough to risk reviving Elder. What was she trying to do? We'll just have to watch the next recording.
The new flow.
That place where you and Sina were forced to go. That was an Arch ship. It was destroyed and corrupted by Falsepawn, and then it became a Falsepawn nest. And what's more, it also seems to have been used as a test site to create replicas of Ark's operatives who had been kidnapped. Gemini has the power to create copies, but Gemini wouldn't require a massive facility like that. Elder was there, so were they his puppets? No. Based on what he said, some other Dark Falls was responsible. Speaking of other Dark Falls, Apprentice is of some concern. Is she really the sister Ophin has been searching for all this time? A Dark Falls vessel. They gain extraordinary power while also being influenced by the person serving as the vessel. And there aren't any records of a vessel being returned to normal after becoming a Dark Falls. It's never happened. Not once. It's unfortunate. But I don't really foresee any positive outcome for Sina or Ophin. That was Luther? No way! He looks more evil now. But that was Cassie, the first Khosra. Oh no, I understand now. He took over Cassie's body. That's just what I would expect of Luther. As much as I hate it, I know Luther well. After all, he's the reason I'm like this. Arx was really falling to pieces after the fight with Elder 40 years ago. So many died. Enough that we couldn't maintain our organization. We needed Luther's technology to rebuild Arx. Regardless of how inhumane that was. But having Luther manipulate Arx as he wished was more terrifying than seeing it destroyed. So I bargained with him. In exchange for offering myself up as a test subject, he'd use his research results to rebuild Arx. My original body was very weak. I knew I probably wouldn't have lived much longer anyway. I thought I'd offer myself for everyone's sake, and Luther accepted. As a result, the second generation of Arx was born with the ability to manipulate photons, and Arx regained its power and standing. But I see. So Shion's goal involves Luther. I guess that makes a lot of sense. I kept a close eye on him while I was alive, but I couldn't do that after dying. I suppose this isn't the time to be getting depressed. What happens next is most crucial. I have to watch and accept what comes. Yeah, The new planet we discovered, Wopal, seems to have a great deal of water. That's pretty and all, but something seems unusual about it. The enemies and natives of the planet are all pretty weird. The weather, everything about the planet seems almost artificial. The natives of the planet can even speak to us without translation. There's gotta be a reason for all of it. It feels so suspect. And speaking of suspect, there's Luther. tricking people and using them in his schemes as one would expect. It's really annoying that this is just a playback of records. I wish I could go pound on him myself. It almost feels like all this stuff with Theodore is happening to me. I wonder how it will all turn out. Shion could butt in, but she just made contact with the second. Anyway, how could the second recognize Shion at that time? Do you think they'd already made a connection? That's one more strange thing going on. I guess that makes these worth watching. Let's check the next record.
Enough of this charade now, Shion. Such futile endeavors are beneath you.
Xiao has finally bust onto the scene! Huh, I see. So that was how you met. In that case, then that'll probably end up that way, and, maybe that's what will happen. Oh, sorry. When I was young and sickly, I used to stay in bed and read a lot of books. I always really enjoyed imagining what was going to happen. That's why I'm so curious about why Shion created Xiao and had you two meet when you did. From here on out, you'll be borrowing Xiao's power to put an end to Luther's plot. I wonder if everything leading to this was inevitable. Elder managed to revive, Theodore is still being used, and Luther keeps closing in on Shion. Maybe Luther would have suspected something if any one of those conditions weren't met. It was probably a future Shion only arrived at after seeing failure after failure. Any shortcuts and it all would have fallen apart. Elder was allowed to revive, and Zeno was rescued. That's one thing Luther doesn't know. Add it all up, and it connects to Shion's plan for the distant future. They're lining up all the pieces for that purpose. This must be how it starts. In fact, I think everything you've done has moved things forward. Sarah trusts you now after all you've done, and you've even got Mary helping you out. How is it all gonna come together? Let's watch the next recording. Yes, I was totally right. I thought someone was meddling on Wopal, and of course it was Luther. He acts like he owns the whole universe, messing around with whatever he wants. My prediction was right on the money, as infuriating as it is. Theodore's another one of his victims, too. To change your entire race after the fact. It's like, that's such an insane change to make. Just when it seemed Luther was going to have his way, you worked hard and managed to get the key to saving Theodore. If everything up until now has come from Shion's guidance, then you know what's up next. No matter how prepared you are, none of that is going to be easy. I'm sure that some of it will even be painful. Oh, but now that I've come this far, I just have to watch the rest. Okay, next up's the history created by Shion's final divergence matrix. I think what Xion really wanted was to free Arcs from Luther's clutches and give them a future. Xion must have tried and failed countless times, always reanalyzing and recalculating, until we finally arrived where we are today. I'm sad that we had to lose Xion, but assuming that all of this was accounted for, then I suppose it's something we just have to accept. Thanks to them, Arcs finally broke away from Luther. But this still leaves plenty of questions unanswered. Xion erased all record of Oracle itself to hide our little predecessor from Luther. That was 10... No, I suppose it would have been 13 years ago now. Only Xion, someone with direct access to the Akashic records themselves, could have pulled something like that off. But that might be where they went too far. Xion was an observer, not one who should directly meddle with the universe's affairs. Why did Xion go against the very purpose of their own existence just for our little friend there? What was going through Xion's mind? If we want answers, we're just gonna have to look to the past to find out. So that's why Xion was trying to hide the second. If you created a being that almost turned into the new profound darkness, you'd want to keep that under wraps too. With the knowledge Xion granted them, the Photoners went on to fiddle with life itself, the legacy of which was the profound darkness. To negate this future, Xion created the second Claris craze. But that creation, too, almost succumbed to the profound darkness. You'd think Xion would go back before the second was made, fix everything up, and move on, but they couldn't. Because that would mean toying with the second's very existence, with life itself. I always figured Xion's guilt and regret came from granting the Photoners knowledge in the first place. But no, it was all about the second. Everything Xion did was to try and make it up to her. She was like a daughter to Xion. It must have been tough. But that's why Xion wanted to save her so desperately, and why they asked you for help. All this time travel has really taught me a lot. There's still plenty I don't get yet, of course. But we can't just travel back in time anymore. Now we need to gather what fragmented memories we can and piece together the truth ourselves. Oh yeah, I'm going to be a... That planets were just...
I appreciate your dedication, but...
Arx has secured its future, but without Shion's guidance. Any alterations to the past might overwrite the future that Shion worked so hard for. No more big changes, that's for darn sure. The time has finally come to accept the bitter truths of the past. I mean, this is probably how the world's supposed to be, right? I'm curious about what motivates Dark Falls. The enemy Arx must fight for the sake of the future, especially this Gemini. And gosh, I hope the second's okay. Seems like she's pushing herself awfully hard. As for Persona, I've got my suspicions, but I think we need to look a little further ahead first. Our next story brings us to Haruko-tan, home to the tribes of Day and Night. I wonder what awaits us here.
So, this next dark...
Haruko-tan, home to both Day and Night. They sure have an interesting way of life down there. The endless conflict between the Daybreakers and Nightfallers gave birth to both the Ash Maiden Sukunahime and the Demon Magatsu, I guess no matter the place and no matter the people, one thing you'll always find is conflict. Think that'll ever change? Gemini seems to feed on these conflicts too. Nudging them along brings them satisfaction. But I guess it doesn't always work out so bad. Arx did break free from Luther's control and take a step in the right direction at least. Still, Gemini is looking to be an unavoidable problem for Haruko-tan and Arx alike. They've got the powers of Luther, they've had Apprentice for a decade already, and now they've even nabbed Elder. I can't imagine it'll be an easy feat to take down someone with the power to devour the likes of such dangerous entities. Especially since you and our little number 2 have been at your limits for a while now. That might actually be what's the most worrisome. Right. So, I know we're just taking a look at past memories here and all, but... this must have been rough. Wanting to look out for someone, but then winding up as the one that person fights to protect. I should know that well enough though, huh? I probably put Reggie and the rest in a pretty similar situation, I imagine. I did what I thought was best, but it must not have seemed that way for them. There's really no perfect solution. That's why this is so hard. But it won't do us any good to keep dwelling on that. We can pick the situation apart until the Rappies come home, and we're not done yet. So, the Nightfallers lost everything to Gemini. Luther was still alive in this universe inside of Gemini, and he helped you. And, seriously, getting this all sorted out is Omega levels of ridiculous. The raw, unrestrained behavior of Gemini is what makes them a real threat. The only thing they were after was the resurrection of the profound darkness, and they pulled that off by giving themselves up to it. I'm sure things didn't go quite the way they planned, but still, they got what they wanted. They really did us in. But time is still moving forward. We're still alive in the here and now, so that must mean we've at least got hope. I hope you'll show me just what awaits at the very end of it all.
The profound darkness has been revived.
Completed!
I think I want to know.
Even the photons...
Well, thank goodness! Our little Matoy made it back! The entirety of ARCS worked to help you get where you needed to be. And check this out! Even Persona lent a helping hand. I'm so glad all of you came together to bring her back. Sure, it wasn't exactly the grand finale everyone probably wanted, but it set you all on the path to the future just the same. I can see where this is headed. You search for a way to defeat the profound darkness and save Persona. I totally get why everyone keeps trying to tackle the profound darkness. I get it so well, I wish I could have been a part of it all. I think we're getting towards the end of all these memories. I almost don't want to finish. But let's see what comes next, shall we? So this is where it ends, Sierra?
Correct. There are more memories beyond this, of course, but this is everything we can look back on.
I'm sorry. I've made you suffer through so much. If I'd just been more attentive, things wouldn't have turned out this way. I wish it hadn't been this way. I just shoved everything onto you.
That's right, Alma. You shouldn't feel responsible for this. You said yourself that this is the future you finally carved for yourself, right? Sure, Matoy and her dear companion faced many challenges on the path to get here. But so did you, right? We all did. And we're only here because every one of us did the very best we could.
Oh, Sierra.
I'm sorry. I think I just got a little worked up. It's hard not getting emotional after going through all these memories.
No, you're right though. I guess what I should say is... thanks. You may not have helped me by choice, but you helped me nonetheless. And for that, I'm grateful. Thank you for working hard and picking up our slack. Really, truly, thank you.
Like